Hi there, Marcy. This is Mati, your technical writing teacher. How are you? I meant to respond a few times already to you, and you seem to have a problem getting back into the course. So I thought I would give you some pointers, and maybe this will help. First of all, you've already completed the first 6 lectures. I believe you were working on lecture 6, and I said you didn't really have to complete it. It was good enough if you've already gotten through some of the exercises. The main lectures now, I mean, you've basically completed the basis of doing technical writing, which is writing operating instructions and explanations. And now we're going to a little bit higher level to start applying the stuff to real cases, so that in lecture 7 you are to actually learn a real program, a software program, and then actually try out doing instructions and explanations on it to a higher level than what we've been doing, and that continues through lectures 8 and 9, writing overview and introductions and getting started and that type of thing. It might sound daunting at first, but the main thing is to simply learn the program that you're going to be writing about. That's the most important thing. You can't write about something that you don't have any interest in, or you don't know what it does, or you just don't know what to say about it because you don't know it well enough. So what you have to do first is listen to, there's something like 4 films that I made on this program called CMAP, which is the program that we're supposed to be documenting. I use that program because it's fairly easy. It's an educational program. It's one that is used by teachers to better or to show students how to think about a certain subject matter. And the idea is that the concept map, which it allows you to draw, enables people to see more clearly the relationship between concepts of any particular topic. Okay, it's not anything too complex. It's just basically drawing circles or squares for the concepts themselves. It could be a concept of anything. And then lines between the concepts that show how they're related in some way. As you'll see, you can look at some of the examples, you can try them out. The idea is to actually try out some of these things yourself. I believe you should be able to do it with the stuff you have that enables you to control the computer. Or maybe you could just get someone else to help you out there and just to draw some simple concept maps on any subject. It doesn't matter what subject. When you're writing, for every writer really, this applies not just for technical writers, every writer, you always have to think of who your audience is. That can help you start to write, because at the bottom line, we're writers. Okay, forget the technical part, we're writers. And a writer writes for someone, normally speaking. So you have an audience. Now the audience for CMAP is probably educators. It could be anywhere from elementary school teachers to junior high teachers, high school, and even college. And they're the main body that's going to be reading this stuff and trying to figure out how to apply it in the classroom. Okay? You may also have an audience of students. The students themselves may be using this, and therefore your instructions and explanations would help them as well. So when you're writing, think of yourself as either writing to a teacher and explaining it to them what they can do with it, or writing to a student and explaining what they can do with it. That will help you, because when you conceptualize your audience, it's much easier to write. If you just kind of try to write the so-called right thing, the correct thing, it doesn't work. You never know what to say. You're not sure if you're saying too much or too little. Just be natural. Think about who you're writing for. Just kind of imagine it. A 5th grade teacher, that type of thing, and then write accordingly. There's no right or wrong here. There's just communication between people. That's all you need. And I think if you do that, you'll get started again. Use the program, and while you're using it, think to yourself, how would a teacher use this? How would I use it if I was a teacher? What would I do with it? How could I explain things better to my class using this? How could I get class participation going by getting people to go up and draw concept maps on the board, or use the computer and CMAP to draw concept maps and then email them to me? How would this stimulate things in the classroom? How would collaboration between students get going better, because they can collaborate on a map and they can add things and they can discuss and argue about what should be added or taken out of the map, or which way the linking lines between concepts should be arranged. There's a lot of it gets a lot of thinking going and a lot of interaction between students, which is another good thing. So you can think of all of these things while you're writing. The pattern for the actual writing is pretty simple. I mean, when you actually get down to actually knowing what to write, it's all pretty much laid out in the lecture. Okay, getting started, I tried to provide a kind of an outline of what you should be writing for in Lecture 7. The outline, to do an outline of CMAP is not an easy thing. It's one of the hardest things to do, an outline for any program. The only way you're going to be able to do a good outline is first learn the program. Use all its features, or as many as you can. Once you can do that, think about how people would be using the program and what they would be looking for. Like some people might be looking for how to format their map. So that could be one chapter, formatting your map, and then there would be some sections, changing the look of the linking lines, changing the colors of concepts, and making a background for your map, that type of thing. All in terms of actions that the user performs. Another thing that people might want to do is collaborate. Okay, collaborating on a map. So another chapter could be collaborating with others on your map, or sharing your map with others, and then you would have subsections in that. Another one could be adding information to your map, which would be, annotations. You can add files. You can actually attach files, MP3s, videos, text files, anything to a particular concept on the map. So this enhances the map, makes it richer in information, and it goes beyond just having it as a map. It's now become a kind of a repository of information where people can find information on any particular topic within the map. So those are the kind of things that people might look for in a manual, and those are their titles of your chapters. Okay? And then you just want to break them down to subsections. All you need is an outline for the main exercise in Lecture 7. And for the latter exercise, the Getting Started chapter, I pretty much told you what you need to write there, and you can just try to write something there. And then go on to Lecture 8. Lecture 8 is really all about writing more in-depth explanations. Explanations at the beginning of a chapter. For example, if it's a chapter on collaboration, tell why you want to collaborate, what are the benefits of this, what do teachers get out of this, what do students get out of this, what does CMAP provide for you in terms of collaboration tools that makes it easy and efficient to use this idea of collaboration, to collaborate. And just kind of an overview of things, and then you get into the operating instructions later in the chapter. But that first page is what we call a chapter overview, an introduction. Other things in there's just little more expansive introductions to the actual operating procedures themselves, whatever it might be, adding a background to your map, so you get a little more in depth than what we learned. But again, it's just writing in a natural way. Don't try to prove yourself in any particular way. Don't try to be perfect. Technical writers have to do a job, basically. They're not out there to win a Nobel Prize. They're to do a job, and to do the job right, they need to communicate enough information to the user that it's interesting and it's significant. It helps them use the product better and more wisely, and it fills in all the gaps and questions that the user might have on a particular feature. And the better the explanation, the more in depth it is, the easier or the more informative it is for the user, and the better they'll be able to use the product. But there's different levels. You don't have to go to the highest level and have the best explanation in the world, as long as it basically covers the main things that we said. I gave the pattern again in the lecture of what to write in each section. So it's basically fill in the really paint by numbers. You just write what I tell you to write, and it'll be okay. Okay, and that's the only way to get back into this thing. Think of your audience. Think of the need to help that audience, and then just go to it. That's all. That's basically what a technical writer does. You have to have some compassion, some feel for your audience if you're going to help them. Okay, and you can't do that unless you imagine who they are. If they're going to be doctors, they're doctors. If they're medical, if they're nurses, they're nurses. If they're teachers, like in our case, they're teachers. And that will help you get a handle on how to write and how to relate. Okay, let me know if this helps. And be in contact. Okay, I'd like to hear from you.